Ooh. Welcome to the Minorities Report podcast, special Halloween edition. Oh, don't do that.
I'm your boy, Jason Technor.
And, dude, you got to knock it off. And I'm Antonio Alcazar, and we're going to talk about a fucking thing that I hate that we did this.
So we wanted to do a special just because I felt like these older horror movies, we talked about them, and none of them were, they were going to make for interesting conversation. None of them were going to scare Antonio.
No,
so
because they're like old schlocky movies.
Right.
But, okay, so a little background. I don't watch horror movies. I specifically stay away from them.
Yeah.
I don't watch them because I kind of like vaguely, I don't know if you guys have listened to, probably nobody here has listened to my other podcast, but I have another podcast called, I'm doing a little plug, called the Realitone Podcast, where I talk to people about their politics and their religion. And I go into some of the things that I think, and I fundamentally am open to the idea that, you know, we don't know what's going on. And so that leaves me open to the idea for a lot of like possible supernatural shit.
Of course.
And so I noticed in my 20s, you know, getting up there, when I was still watching horror movies, that like I was getting real scared about this shit.
Gotcha.
Especially since like in my kind of earlier 20s, I started getting really into a lot of esoteric shit. So like I started like looking into why people think the things that they think and what's really, I don't know, going out there. And I started developing this like framework for how I think reality kind of exists, my own subjective kind of viewpoint of reality. And so that leaves a lot open to supernatural stuff.
Of course.
And so watching movies now so like when you're a kid, it's scary, right? Yeah. But it's scary because it's unknown.
Yeah.
But when I was watching now scary movies in my 20s with like a more structured framework for what's possible, it was too easy to convince myself into a really strong framework for why this stuff might actually happen.
Interesting.
And so that's why I stopped watching horror movies, because I don't like watching movies to just like pick it apart.
Yeah, no, and I get it, because like why do in a leisurely activity something that makes you feel uncomfortable?
Well, and so that's the opposite. So that's the other part of that. Because like the first thing is, I'm not going to watch a horror movie and just like break it apart and be like, oh, this acting is blah blah. Like, because that's not why I'm watching a horror movie. I'm watching any movie to just engross myself in the story.
Absolutely.
I want to see what the director is helping me or showing me.
Sure.
But with a horror movie, it's literally 2 hours of being uncomfortable. Yeah. And I don't want to put myself through that, because it's not just 2 hours. Because a lot of horror movies are done in a way that fit in my framework of possibility, I will get in my head about that, and I'll let it consume me. Sure. And then I'll be afraid all the time. Like, I'm like afraid at night, and I'm like afraid to go to the bathroom by myself. Like, I hate that feeling. And so I just stopped. I stopped watching horror movies about 10 years ago, and I was in my early 20s. And so,
do you remember the last horror movie that you watched?
Where I was just like,
I'm done with this.
I think
shit.
I'm all done. It was during the time where like, I think actually the last one that I saw, it was around the time of like The Grudge and The Exorcism of Emily Rose, those movies.
Sure.
I can't remember which one the very last one that I saw was. But it was
2010.
Around that, yes, for sure. And so I remember The Exorcism of Emily Rose actually really fucking, like, I was like, ugh, this is not I carried those, like,
you were very uncomfortable.
Yeah, but I carried that discomfort for years, my guy.
Absolutely.
And so, like, there was a real conscious decision to stop watching horror movies.
Yeah.
But then we were going to do this.
Yeah, buddy.
And you know what? My girlfriend also doesn't like horror movies, so like I don't have one of those girlfriends who's just like, I love horror movies. Like
Sarah is with me. Where she loves horror movies.
Yeah, no. So my girlfriend and I, we don't watch horror movies. It's never been an issue. And so we're going into the month of Halloween. We were just like, let's do a couple of movies. And I'm like, you know what? I think it'd be cool as a Halloween special to do one actual horror movie. Yeah. And I'll like watch a horror movie for the first time in like 10 years or whatever. Yeah. I really fucking regret that.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. The reason I picked this one is I was thinking to myself, what's a good recent horror movie that made me feel uncomfortable? And it's definitely this fucking movie, man. There's a lot to talk about here.
Oh yeah,
it is. And here's
stellar movie, by the way.
I mean,
I hate to play my hand right away, but I fucking loved this movie.
It's unbelievable how fucking good this movie is.
Yeah.
And I remember when it came out, I went out. It was really hyped out. I saw this like opening weekend
in the theaters.
Absolutely,
Fuck,
absolutely.
Yeah,
We'll get into some of the things about that.
I'm dying at the anticipation of telling you how I watched this.
Yeah, man. So I mean, we watched this with headphones. I was doing stuff. I was in my my office, pretty much watching it on my computer because it's all over Amazon, all kinds of things.
Yeah.
How did you watch it?
I watched it, I think, through Amazon as well. Yeah,
okay.
No. I couldn't get Amazon to work because I use Janet's Amazon.
Sure.
And I couldn't get it to work on my computer.
Okay.
So then I just rented it on Google. But I'm watching it on my laptop.
Yeah, $2 or whatever. Yeah,
it was like $2.
Excellent.
I think I sported the extra $1 for the HD version.
Nice.
So
this is Ari Aster's first movie.
Okay.
He did Midsommar more recently as well. This one came out 2018.
Yeah.
So
2018.
2018. I just want to make sure I'm not getting that confused because I kind of get mixed up between The Witch, Robert Eggers. He's one of my favorite directors as well, but I also like this guy, and they've kind of made movies similar times back and forth and whatnot, and like a lot of people figure that these two are two of like the best guys when it comes to horror right now.
Yeah, for sure. It made me analyze why people make horror.
Yeah.
Because I was like, what is the driving purpose of this movie?
Yeah.
What are you trying to do?
Yeah.
And I think that fundamentally this guy is a genius.
Yeah.
And his goal is just to scare you. I want to instill fear.
So
there's no like
I disagree
story here.
I disagree.
There's
completely.
no like
we're going to get into that.
Subtext.
There's complete subtext. Yes, I've had this conversation.
Maybe
with people
I
before.
was just so uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I did not.
I think when you listen, so when you listen to what I'm going to talk to you about, I think you're going to go, "Holy fuck, you're absolutely right." Because I've had this conversation with other people who love horror, and they were just like, "This was like a modern Exorcist, this and that." I'm like, "No, this is so much deeper." And then I like talk to them about it, and they're like, holy fuck, you're right.
Okay,
there's one thing that I'll be honest up front. There's something I don't like about this movie. We'll get to it way later.
Okay.
But yeah, this movie is just different when it comes to horror movies.
Sure,
man. It's like fucking heavy.
This
bro.
movie is the horror movie I never wanted to see.
Yeah.
This horror movie is the movie I stopped watching horror movies in case it ever happened.
Yeah.
Like this was like, one day I'm going to end up watching some shit that's like real fucking heavy.
Yeah.
And before we get to that point, let's just cut it off here, bro.
Yeah.
I came back to watch the one that I stopped watching horror movies for.
Sure. So you guys are getting this. I mean, this is a present for you guys. I drank, and I knew Antonio. This was going to be rough on Antonio, so that's why I specifically picked this one.
I love how you texted me when you were watching it. You're just like, fuck, bro, I'm really sorry about making you watch this movie.
I did. I was just like, I was about 45 minutes in.
Sure.
And I was like, fuck, he is going to be so uncomfortable. It's ridiculous. And you're a friend of mine. So, I don't want, to hurt you.
I also like how this morning you were just like, hey, bro, you all right? Are you dead?
Are you still alive, bro?
Oh, man. I had such a rough time with this one. All right, so let's
kick this off. All right, so we start off with this like weird obituary kind of like scene where you're like reading off this obituary.
Yes.
I love this.
Yeah.
Because it gives it like almost a sense of realism. Like we're putting it in the real world and just and you know right away you're going to be dealing with some grief and things like that.
Yes. It's about the dead.
Exactly.
Yes.
So you start off and the family all goes to this funeral. You got the mom, the dad, the daughter. Very unique look to her.
Yeah.
And
real ugly girl.
Yes. Unfortunately ugly.
Yeah, sure.
Of course I saw
but they picked her to be unsettling. Like
she doesn't look like this in real life.
Oh, really?
She looks
there's like prosthetics on it?
Yeah, her face is definitely mashed up in this movie.
Sure, okay, yeah.
She does not look that unfortunate in real life. And I remember seeing the trailers for this movie and thinking, wow, that girl looks weird. Like, it's just very unique, you know?
Yeah.
So, and I'm sure that's exactly what they were going for.
Well, I think the point is to unsettle you right off the bat.
Right off the bat. And then you get into this and you right off the bat, this is such a realistic family.
Oh, yeah.
Like the way the mom is up there talking about her mom,
Sure,
like I loved her, but she was very hard to deal with at times. She was very hard-headed, and you were always wrong.
Yeah.
And even when she was
they were
wrong,
dropping some things right away.
Right.
She was a big fan of ritual.
Yes, she did.
She was very secretive.
Yes.
Those two words, ritual and secret.
Yes.
Right? Because you can say that a person is reserved.
Yes.
Instead of saying secretive. I think that she said secretive and reserved.
Yep.
And you can say that this person was a fan of tradition without being a fan of ritual. But if you're dropping ritual and if you're dropping secretive, okay, you're giving me some plot points. You know? Like I was already like, okay, here we go.
All right.
I was excited.
Yeah.
Up until the 4th minute.
Okay, what happens at the 4th minute?
So at minute 4, I rate down everything's creepy. Music's very creepy.
Yes.
Slow shot into the house, where they're
Here, I want to point out a couple things.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
The miniature house.
The miniature house. Yeah.
Their house.
It creeped me out.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Of course, it's supposed to. Yeah. It's supposed to unsettle you.
But nothing was happening.
No, I know.
And I was creeped out.
But that was, dude.
But that's what I'm saying. The difference between this one and Halloween or Nightmare on Elm Street, those movies were like, okay, whatever. They were horror movies. But this is like.
It's because of the score.
The score. Already,
The score is not in your face, but it's subconsciously unsettling you. Like it's just like
it's not even subconsciously, man. It's like in every way unsettling.
Right. But what I mean by that is the score isn't in your face. It's not fucking no. It's very just it's very like Alien.
Yeah.
Alien was very similar to that too.
Yeah.
Atmospheric.
Or just like
yes.
Whoosh,
heartbeats and stuff like that. Right. Yeah. Exactly. Exactly.
And so I put slow shot into the house was creepy. Little girl's face, creepy.
Yeah.
Even the picture of the mom at the funeral had a creepy realism to it.
Yes.
Like the picture almost looked like too real.
Sure.
And the shots where they were like looking at her in the casket, it was like I don't know, like I was expecting her to move,
Yeah.
It was just such a weight to it.
This they get into the house and you start panning through different rooms in the house.
Yeah.
And there's so many, this to me is a lot like Alien again.
Yes.
Where there's so many knick-knack type of things around the house that are just so lived in.
Yeah.
So
and a lot of that is the point.
Sure.
They really go above and beyond to make sure that that this is lived in.
Yes.
There's stuff on the walls written in shit.
Absolutely.
It's very creaky kind of shit.
Yes, I agree completely.
The set design was insane.
Daughter says something kind of odd. She says, Grandma always wanted me to be a boy. Which is kind of weird. You're like, okay, no big deal. I mean, she wanted a boy in her life. Okay, that's weird, but you have an older son, so it's like you already had it. Okay, whatever. So then you kind of put everybody to bed. The mom finds she's going through her books. She finds a message from her mom.
Yeah.
That on first read is kind of sweet. It's like we're dealing with a lot of stuff.
Sure.
But in the end, the riches will be with us and whatnot. And then the second time I'm seeing this movie, I'm like, that's a weird fucking message.
Yeah.
It's kind of sweet, but it's fucking weird. And then she sees, obviously, the ghost of her mom there.
Okay. So, 9 minutes in.
Yep.
So, this is before the ghost of the mom.
Okay.
All right. 9 minutes in, I had to take off my headphones because I was too anxious.
Yeah.
The atmosphere is insane. I forgot how much I hated
9 minutes in and you were like, I'm almost tapping out.
Yeah, at 9. So you got to remember, I'm watching this by myself, lights off, headphones on.
Yeah.
It's just me.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm listening to it.
Like me when I was in the theater the first time.
Yeah.
Sarah was with me though.
Sure.
So,
I'm by myself in my room with my laptop and my headphones on.
Yeah.
Lights are off. I'm just because I wanted to get the experience.
Yeah.
I literally had to take my headphones off like this so that I couldn't hear anything, just to breathe again from
just to reset yourself.
Yeah, just to get out of that anxious atmosphere because it was too scary.
Yeah.
Okay, but then 12 minutes in,
I love that you have minute documentary, you're the fucking captain of a Star Log.
Dude, this one this movie, I can't stress enough how stellar this movie is.
Yeah.
This movie is one of the most phenomenally made movies I've ever seen.
Okay.
But at 12 minutes in, I go, dead mom in the corner, fuck this movie. I'm I closed my eyes instinctively, because you see the dead mom in the corner, and I was just like, okay, this is what you were getting yourself into, you know?
Yeah.
And then they show the main character, and she's just like horrified.
Right.
And then they show the mom in the corner again, and I couldn't handle it the second time. Like, I instinctively closed my eyes.
Turns out in the light, and she's gone.
Yeah, and then I put, fuck, I'm already so uncomfortable, no longer sitting leaned into the screen, because I was like leaned into the screen. Yeah. At this point, I'm like... Yeah. As far away from the screen. I almost don't want to see the details.
Throughout this entire movie, they do a lot of great tricks with darkness.
Oh my god, yes.
It's like...
But that's what I'm saying, dude. The shots are so like... They're positioned in a way that is uncomfortable. They're lit in a way that is uncomfortable. Yep. You know? So
he's very good at that. And then you get something that I fucking love that this movie does.
What?
You get a little... Because, the mom builds displays. She builds, that's what she does for money, basically. Her job is
she's like making
a modeler.
Yeah.
And she makes models for different companies and whatnot. I'm guessing like city planner type of modeling.
I thought that she was doing a show.
She was.
She was going to show like her life or something. Because she was doing one with like her mom in hospice.
No. I think that stuff she does on the side.
No, I don't think so. I think that she was preparing something for a gallery night. Like that was the whole her where she was getting calls from the museum or whatever. Sure. I think that she was gonna do a gallery night.
I don't think we know exactly.
No. But that's just what I was gathering.
Okay, that's fine. I definitely took that as she has two lines. It's kind of like me. I'm a commission painter that does commission painting for Warhammer. Yeah. I have the stuff that I do for my clients, and I have the stuff that I do for myself. And that's kind of what I pictured her as. And maybe I was reading too much. Right, that she did this stuff that was for her clients, and then she did this stuff over here that was for herself.
Sure.
As a way of exercising herself and like speaking, because she was everybody in this family is very, I'm not talking about things.
Yes,
and her mom was that way
pretty
too.
Realistic. But okay, so say what you were going to say though, because I think I'm going to agree with you.
So you get a fucking model of the mom in bed with the baby, and her mom trying to breastfeed the baby,
which is like, I was so uncomfortable.
It is unbelievably telling you. It's unbelievable. It's fucking genius because it's telling you what's going on in the past here with this without having to fucking tell you
without having to do a scene and shit
making
like
you
that.
Feel uncomfortable.
Yeah,
right.
And so also at this point in the movie, I liked that there was a respite. So that's actually one of the things that makes me more uncomfortable about this movie.
Yeah.
So in Alien, it was discomfort, small respite, hell.
Yeah.
But then it was just hell, and I got used to the hell.
Yeah.
Whereas this movie, it's like...
It's an old school acts movie. It goes through acts.
Yeah, it gives you scenes where it like builds this unbelievable tension, scares the shit out of you, and then resets you.
Yes.
So that it can rebuild this unbelievable tension, scare the shit out of you, and then reset you. Like, so like the next scene is the kid, he wants to go to the party.
No, the next scene is they're in school.
Okay, but...
because I want to point out, I hate this scene.
Yeah.
So, something I hate in movies, I fucking hate movies that have scenes in school with a teacher giving instructions to a person that is telling you the entire plot of the fucking movie.
Yeah, I think that's in every horror movie we've watched so far.
It was in
Nightmare on Elm Street, it was in this movie, and it was in Halloween.
Yes. I fucking hate that. Oh, well, yes. And...
Where they're just talking about things that are
and he
very relevant.
Right. He couldn't do anything about it. He was trapped in the situation was... Yeah, I fucking hate that. It's just so annoying. It's so... And here's the thing.
It's really on the nose.
And maybe because I'm a smarter viewer, I'm not smart at anything in life except for movies. And I am very knowledgeable when it comes to film. I've taken film classes. I love film. I notice almost everything about films. And so for me, it's hand-holdy as fuck. Mm-hmm. You don't need to hold my hand. But I realize also that sometimes for other people...
But this movie didn't... It's like Lighthouse. This movie didn't feel like it was trying to hold anybody's hand.
Sure.
Except for in that scene.
Sure. Yeah. Well, we'll get into a little bit of stuff later, but I'll bring that up later.
Yeah.
So it's not that big of a deal. Charlie's in there.
Yeah.
She sees like that, like, what? That... light thing,
yeah.
You know, I don't know how to explain it other than like a flash of light that's moving.
Sure,
and
like an energy wave almost.
Yep, and then a bird smashes into the window. Fucking weird, right? You know, she goes out there, cuts off the bird's head.
Yeah, so I was just like, okay, this kid is because at first you're seeing all the like little robot things that she's making.
Yeah,
and it's just like, okay, here's the creepy kid, but then it's just like she cuts that bird's head off, and I'm just like, oh, this is the kid from The Omen.
Yeah.
You know, like this is like
something very
next level
odd.
weird. Yeah.
And when she's cutting off the bird's head, of course, there's someone across the street watching her and smiling.
Yeah. Yeah.
So also weird.
Yeah.
No big deal. Weird though. So next scene, Dad gets a call. He gets a call. Something happened at the cemetery. Something weird fucking happened at the cemetery. He's not revealing what's going.
They say though, because he says desecrated.
Right.
Yeah.
He says desecrated. That's all he says though. At this point, the mom, she goes to a meeting for like people dealing with loss, and she wants to go somewhere to talk about her mom because you get the feeling right away this family is not a family that talks about things and deals with things and whatnot. So she goes over there, and then we get an information dump at that point.
Yes.
Very fucking relevant, of course.
Yeah, of course.
And this is where I'm going to get into how this movie is so much deeper than what you're just taking on the surface. Okay. We find out, her mom was fucking a little off, a little fucking weird, okay?
Yeah.
Her dad was a psychopath, okay? Her brother...
Or her dad killed himself, right?
Indeed.
Yeah.
Her brother was a psychopath as well.
Schizophrenic, killed himself.
Always complaining about mom trying to put voices in me and stuff of that nature. Yeah. The mom clearly has some weird shit going on. You have a family pattern of mental illness.
Yeah. Which
is
life-ending.
Hereditary. Mental illness is hereditary.
Is it?
It is.
I didn't know that.
Yes, they're starting to realize, or they're starting to study that more and start to figure out that you can pass down illnesses and things of that nature to your children and whatnot. So right off the bat, that was kind of like when I went to go see the movie Cabin Fever. I know what the fuck Cabin Fever is, and it was completely not about cabin fever, and it pissed me off because I was like, this isn't what fucking Cabin Fever is at all.
Sure, okay.
I love that this is Hereditary. It's touching on mental illness and how it can pass down and how it seeps into the people around you and affects the people that are around you.
Yeah.
And it can affect them very negatively, obviously. And as we go further into the movie, I'm going to delve into that more and show you more points at which he dealt with the mental illness, because this is very much deals with mental illness.
Okay,
as well.
so that's kind of what they're trying to hit you. And to be honest, I have had a past, I guess, with mental illness. Not anything that was like it's not a neurological imbalance or anything. But when I was younger, I had a lot of anxiety and I had a lot of depression. And thankfully that's gone away, and it's been gone for years, and so I'm really happy to be on the other end of that. But this hits you in that.
Yeah.
Because and I didn't even kind of put two and two together, but this is it's getting into the conversation that you have with yourself about how stable you are.
Sure.
And how real your own thoughts can be. Sure. And this really plays on that in a way that is deeply uncomfortable.
Yes.
So yeah, I guess I see what you're talking about.
And depression is one of those things that they think is hereditary, that gets passed down from person to person. Yeah. So that's what I was definitely picking up on, because I'm always looking for the subtext and that it's put into horror movies, because so often horror movies are about something besides just a slashing.
Yeah, sure. Well, they come off as very liminal.
Of course, because that's smart. Better horror does that. I should say better horror tries to go deeper.
Yeah, and this clearly is like the top of horror.
Yes, this is definitely higher brow horror. I don't care what anybody says. I know some people that hate this movie, and I'm just like, you're fucking crazy. Dude. That's
insane to me.
I agree. So,
but those same people like Halloween.
Well, so we get some next scenes with the mom where she's dealing with stuff for work. She's behind on this. She's got to catch up. There's a lot of stress that's dealing with her on work. Some cool behind the scenes stuff that I'm going to get to right here. Okay, this is something that a smart director does. Right? Yeah. The dad and the son in this movie worked together before. They worked on an HBO show together where they were a dad and a son.
Oh,
okay. The son went to school with the daughter.
Oh, really?
They went to school together.
Yeah.
These three people all know each other and have done things together.
Yeah.
The mom hasn't at all.
Oh, wow.
And they purposely wanted to do that because then you have this relationship where these three people have like a very natural chemistry. Exactly. Yeah. And then you have the outsider, which is the mom.
Oh, now that you mention that, because at the party,
they
had a very real brother-sister chemistry.
Yeah. I'm going to get into that specifically.
Okay, yeah.
At the party.
Yes.
Because the next scene we're going to go to, he goes to ask his mom if he can go to the party.
Yeah.
She's like, "Are you going to drink there?" And he's like, I can't buy drinks."
Yeah.
Well, that's
he's like, I don't even know what that smells like, officer.
Yeah, exactly. What? How would I even get alcohol if I wanted it?
Right.
Well, that was a dumb answer, but now are you going to do it? Right? Like,
Yeah.
I just don't want you doing it, basically. And then she's like, she kind of forces the daughter to go, while this is all happening, of course, the daughter's out in the forest and sees the grandma at the burning thing and something really weird going on out
so
here.
So she's like hallucinating some witchy shit at this point.
Yeah, absolutely. And so you kind of get the feeling that there's something weird going on getting passed down with the women in this family because they're all kind of seeing weird things, because obviously the mom sees the mom in the corner, and we know that the mom was into some weird shit, and Charlie is seeing the grandma, the patriarch of the family out on the lawn.
The matriarch.
Right. Yeah, I'm sorry, of course. Yeah. And so, but the mom goes and gets her, brings her in, they go to the party together. Yeah. Okay. Party goes on. It's just a very normal party and whatnot.
They walk in and she's just walking around with him, super chill.
Yeah.
And
this is like where you're like what you're just talking about. They have a very not like antagonistic sort of relationship. Like you would think, and I love this because she's obviously got something wrong.
Sure.
She's kind of maybe handicapped and whatnot, but the brother's there looking out for her.
Yeah. Even not really shitting on her or being mean or anything. Just hey, I'm going to go smoke a bowl. Can you just give me 2 seconds and just chill?
Just go have some cake.
Yeah, but he's not talking down to her or anything like that. He's almost asking her please.
Right.
Which is a very brother, I don't want siblings who like each other talk to each other.
Absolutely.
Like that.
And then so, funny, as I'm sitting there in the theater the first time, they're making the food or whatever, and they're cutting up the nuts, and instantly I was like, oh, she's gonna have a nut.
Yeah, of course.
Right,
they made a couple of points to just be I better not have nuts in it.
Right.
And when they were cutting up the nuts, I'm like, okay, she's about to.
Exactly. So then, of course, we don't have to belabor this part. She gets sick from her nut allergy. Yeah. And then he runs out carrying her out, and that was another scene.
Yes,
exactly.
Sweet. I was just get out of there. No excuses, no nothing. Just
exactly. Something's wrong, Charlie. What's wrong? And I can't. My throat's closing or whatever. And he's like, let's get the fuck out of here. And runs her out with her. And you could feel the love between these two characters
really
and whatnot. Yeah. And then
what makes it worse, man? Because it was so real.
Did you
every fucking thing that happened in this movie just felt so realistic.
Yes.
As far as the way that people act, the way that people feel against each other, the way that they look at each other just is so authentic.
Yes.
I hated that.
Yes.
Because that draws you, and you talk about engaging.
And then this is
so engaged at this point.
If there's one scene everybody knows from Hereditary, it's this scene. This is the most famous scene, of course. Yeah. And how did this scene hit you? I gotta ask you.
33 minutes in, Charlie loses her head. What the fuck am I literally watching right now?
Dude, I was in the theater. I remember seeing this in the theater.
Yeah.
And this scene is played so well.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Because you're worried for her already because you're like, oh fuck, is he going to get to the hospital in time? Yeah. She's going to die because of her fucking nut allergy and whatnot.
And she's kicking. She looks so distressed.
Right.
Really distressed.
And the music's
gasping for breath. Really struggling to breathe.
Yeah.
She hits the window.
Yeah.
Because of course, just any amount of more air.
Yeah.
And then, yeah.
I remember in the theater, literally, theater's dead, yelling, "Holy fuck!"
Yeah. I was obviously, I, feel it.
Yeah.
And that's when I was just I don't know what the fuck I'm watching anymore. Yeah. Dude. At this point, it is getting very fucking real for me.
Yeah, dude. And, man.
The discomfort level from that scene was just, if I was at a 10, right?
Yeah.
And half my headphones off, trying to really struggle to not freak myself out watching this movie. From that point forward, it was at 12 now. You know, I'm past the point of,
for sure,
of what I expected this movie would make me feel.
Yes,
I expected a peak discomfort, and I am notches above that.
Yeah, now. And we got many notches to go yet.
Yeah, and we've got notches to go.
So the plus side of me watching this is I've seen this movie already, so I know what I'm looking for in certain things. There's so many little things, clearly, because as they're going to the party, there's a second that they focus on that telephone pole specifically.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Yeah, I didn't.
And there's a marking on that telephone pole.
Yes, I did notice the marking on the telephone pole.
Of course. So,
which is how much of this was planned then?
all of it.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's why the deer was in the road?
Yeah. Nothing's by like the first time you watch it, it's like, oh, that's a coincidence or something like that. But then
the another one of the things that like I thought of early on that I kept thinking like, when is this gonna make sense? Was the creepy guy at the funeral who like winks at her when she's looking at the thing? I was just like, one, that creepy guy at the funeral. There's something weird and creepy about his face. Of course, man, he creeped me out.
Of course,
but then like, you don't get the explanation for that for forever, and that's just like sticking in my head the whole time. I'm like, where's the creepy guy? You know, like, what is this creepy guy about?
Yeah, for sure,
man.
He could have easily been Lube Man.
Yeah,
from Watchmen.
It just never gets processed.
Right, exactly.
And I would have been like, what the fuck?
Right, yeah. And so, all right, that happens, and the way they react to this death, to me, is, I don't want to say it like this, but it's like beautiful. It's beautifully shot.
Yes.
Like just the way he is, so realistic.
Yeah.
Just goes
home. There's an insane attention to detail. Yeah, so he stops the car as soon as it happens.
Of course.
And he's just like in real believable shock.
Yeah.
Just tears streaming down his face. No screaming, no nothing. Just real shock.
Yeah.
Goes home, lays in bed, silent, doesn't go to sleep.
The whole, everything we see is just on his face.
Yeah.
Staring at his face.
Like
his expressionless face.
Yeah.
And then you can hear the mom get up, and she's like, all right, I'll see you later. Bye-bye. Yeah, I love you, blah, blah, blah. And then, of course,
screaming from, but you hear the muffled screaming from his room.
Yes. Everything's from his point of view.
Yeah.
Just well done. Just obviously so well done.
Yeah. Oh, and then you get the shot of Charlie's head, and that tripped me the fuck out, dude.
It's like
fucking goddamn.
This scene, for like the way the family reacted and everything like that, really hit me like an emotional way.
Yeah.
Like I really felt like just bad,
well, I mean,
almost like to
dude,
tears.
The mom was really going through it. Time, dude.
I mean, as you know, my brother died when I was young.
Sure, I remember
when he was 19.
Yeah.
And like it definitely brought me back to like how my mom reacted, because just to go in my backstory a little bit, when he died, I was leaving work. It was on a Monday night. It was a Monday night football game. He was with his friends watching the game. I got off of work. I was closing, and I get a phone call from my mom on my cell phone. Yeah. And she's literally screaming at the top of her lungs. And I could not understand what the fuck she was saying.
Yeah.
And I was like, slow down, what? And I could only understand something about Randy. And I'm just like, what? He got in an accident or something like that? And then she's like, he's dead. And I'm like, the fuck are you talking about? Like, you
shock,
know, exactly. And then I remember like I had to go and get her, and because she had to go down to the morgue and identify the body, and I had to go with her for that. And it was like, this mom's reaction is so realistic.
I can imagine, only because I've had not that close, but like a very close cousin of mine died about in 2014.
Sure.
And he was
how old were they?
He was 30.
Okay.
He was like 32 actually. I think he was like my age. But he was in a car accident. Like his car just overturned and he died. But he was a very close cousin.
Yeah.
And so same thing. Like I was here in Wisconsin visiting.
Yeah.
I was at a bowling alley with my brother.
Okay.
And my cousin calls me, says crying.
Yeah.
Johnny's dead. And I'm like, what? Like what you're mistaken about this.
Clearly.
This is not a thing that's happened.
Yep.
And then I called my mom, and it was that reaction.
Yeah.
You know, like it was talking through screaming.
Yes.
Because it's like too like.
And you think about this, like, to put this, and I'm not saying that's any less than any other situation.
No, of course not.
I don't want to say that at all.
Yeah.
But now, like, take 15 or 20 years off that guy's life.
Yeah, dude. That's insane.
That adds so much weight to it. Like if my brother would have died like 39 years old, like he just died this year or something like that, it'd be like, it would be devastating, obviously, because he's way too young.
Yeah.
But you're like, at least he lived half of a life. Yeah. He lived, when a child dies, it's so much harder.
Yeah.
It's just like, and this daughter in this movie is like 5 years younger than my brother was.
13,
yeah.
Sure.
So she's 5 years younger than my brother was when he died.
Yeah.
So it's like I could even imagine even how much harder that would be.
No, I can't.
And
especially on a mom.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like that's going to hit a mom worse than any other person, because this is the
and her acting through this, dude, like
perfect.
Was
she's
insane.
just like, I want to die.
Yeah.
I just want to die.
Visceral, dude. I like there was I wanted to puke, man. I'm not gonna lie. This movie made me so uncomfortable. So I want to like the next thing. My next note isn't about anything specific. It's just 47 minutes in, and there's been a lot of headphones on, headphones off situations because of the anxiety of not being able to handle the tension. The way the tension builds in this movie is like, I hope this movie won some awards.
Sure.
So
I think, no, it did not. And I remember being fucking furious that Toni Collette didn't at least get a fucking nomination. She was the best actress in 2018. Hands down, no fucking, like, her acting was unbelievable in this fucking film. And here's the thing. I wrote this down multiple times. I fucking love the dad.
Yes.
The dad,
oh my God. Yeah.
It's not like he, as an actor, he does something bombastic or anything like that.
No.
He is just a real dad to the T. So trying to help this person who has mental disability and like
struggling to, man.
Yes,
really trying.
Clearly loves his family.
In his calm.
Yes.
You saw the need to keep everyone centered, like it was such a believable guy. It didn't seem like he was flippant, or
no, he tries to deal with everything. And he's handling everything to do with her mom behind the scenes
with so much
and stuff
empathy.
Like that. It's rough, and
he got some stellar performances out of these people, man. Like I don't like I can't. So to talk about the tension, I am awestruck by how disgustingly palpable the tension is in this movie. I couldn't believe how much the atmosphere alone made me not want to watch this movie. Nothing was happening in these scenes, and I could barely handle it. That is a horror movie. If I could describe a horror movie, it's that.
So this is why, like, sidestep, and this doesn't have anything to do with this movie exactly, but this is why I was trying to get you to watch Dark. Because while that's sci-fi, it's very similar to this, where everything is heavy. The music is fucking done like this. It's very fucking like it's hard to explain, but very much the similar kind of feel. And I remember watching that the first time and thinking back to this and going, "Oh fuck, I felt a lot of these same things." Very scared, which I'm like, "Why? I'm watching a sci-fi show, though." Very very much the same thing. One thing we skipped over, I just want to like draw back to, because it is important and it comes back later. When she was in that meeting, she brings up how she sleepwalks.
Yes.
And she almost killed someone in her family before.
Yes.
Which
she sleepwalks, but it's not just sleepwalking. She doused her kids in lighter fluid and woke herself up when she was lighting a match.
Yes.
So that's a little further than regular sleepwalking.
Yeah, and you're like, that's just another clue, something fucking weird.
Yeah, like how much of that is like intentional, and then you coded it. You coded the memory. As sleepwalking, so you could deal with that.
Again, mental disorders, mental health.
I didn't even.
And now you clearly have the mom who has mental health. The Toni Collette's character who has mental health issues. Like the mom, she's clearly weird. Like we don't know the grandma. I'm sorry, the grandma is clearly weird, into something. Maybe it's fucking. She's also crazy. Maybe she's not really into this thing. She thinks she's into these things.
Maybe,
right?
Because there's a book that she pulls out called like Thoughts on Spiritualism or something like that. So you're just like, okay, so the mom was into some esoteric shit.
And she was talking to spirits and stuff like that, which could come off as crazy to many people, you know. And clearly Charlie's weird too. So there's these three women in this film that are all kind of off, kind of weird, kind of something going on with them.
Yeah.
So then she goes, she wants to leave, and she keeps. There's an important thing that comes up later. She keeps lying to her husband, saying that she's going to the movies.
Yes, instead of going to the.
Because she doesn't want to tell anybody she's going to these appointments.
She says it. She says she has a hard time with this kind of like thing.
Again,
she's just like
so realistic.
Yeah,
right?
of course. Because opening up that vulnerability, especially in a very vulnerable time, is already difficult.
Of course.
And so, of course, like this is not a thing that I'm often doing. I don't like this kind of thing, so I'm going to keep it to myself. That's very believable.
She goes to another meeting. She's going to go to another meeting.
Yes.
She wants to go in. She doesn't go in. And then a woman comes up to her and starts talking to her.
Yes.
And then she won't even open up to her. Yeah. And then, of course, that woman says, I lost a child.
Yeah, my kid died.
And then she starts talking about her kid that died. Yeah. And so this is fourth wall breaking. I'm going to put that out on the thing here. This was when the first time I saw this movie, the first scene I had a problem with.
Why?
Because I love this actress. She's always a villain. Okay, so she's played on HBO shows and things of that nature.
Oh, okay.
She's not really like a villain,
yeah,
but she's always an antagonist. Yeah. You know, she's not.
I've only ever seen her in one.
Which one?
But she was an antagonist in this too.
Yeah,
I watch her in The Handmaid's Tale.
Yes.
Yeah.
And she's very.
By the way, have you ever seen The Handmaid's Tale?
I've seen parts of it.
You should watch The Handmaid's Tale.
I
from
will
beginning to end.
I definitely will at some point. She was in one of my favorite shows on HBO called The Leftovers.
Oh, okay.
Deals with a lot of these same things going on in here.
Yeah.
The stress, mental illness, things of that nature. Okay. It's a television show about it. Yeah. Dealing with loss.
You've suggested this to me before.
Fucking great show. Yeah. Only 3 seasons as well. So, Damon Lindelof.
Oh, so, yeah. That's when we were talking about it, when Watchmen was going on.
So I knew right at this scene right here when she was talking to her, this bitch is up to no good.
Yeah,
right.
Sure,
There's something wrong with this woman right here. It doesn't mean that she's evil per se, but she's likely going to do that.
You know when I knew that she was a bad guy?
Huh.
When she gets to her house and she's just like, oh, my mom used to do floor mats like this. And she's just like, oh, that's so funny. Right there, I was just like, oh, she's okay. So she's
clearly in with her mom.
Sure. Yeah.
But like, I thought maybe there's a chance that they're pulling me with the left hook, because sometimes they'll do that.
Sure,
they'll
of course.
bring in a character who is always evil, and then that person's not evil because it gives. But this has happened to me before, like when I saw with the girl with the dragon tattoo, and Stellan Skarsgård showed up, and I'm like, oh, he's always a fucking bad guy except for Avengers, and like and then he was the killer, of course. So I'm like, it just hurts me a little bit because if you're leading to something, and I know this character is always bad, and it's dumb of me, it's hard for me to like take myself out of that. But it's like when I play deduction games with a person, and this person's always the spy.
Sure.
I'm just automatically thinking they're the spy, and they're like, I've got the same fucking chances. I don't give a fuck. You're the spy.
Yeah.
Blah blah blah. Flip Scar, he's the spy, of course, because it's just But
the difference, I think, from when I'm watching this, because I know that this woman is a bad guy.
Sure.
Right? It didn't do anything for the relief of tension.
No,
for me.
I agree. It's almost knowing she's up to something almost built more tension for me. So
because now I'm like holding my breath every time she's in the room.
Yeah. So she starts talking a lot about what's going on. And I'm sorry, is this who she reveals that she was sleepwalking to?
I don't think so. No.
Okay, it was in the
group. Yeah,
just wanted to make sure because she reveals more stuff to this woman.
Yes,
and this is when I'm thinking. This is the first point where I'm thinking maybe this is not something going on, and maybe she's fucking crazy, and she's the one doing a lot of things that are going on. Okay, because there's a lot of weird shit that goes on throughout this film that Toni Collette could have been doing herself.
Yes, absolutely.
So, and it's purposely made to be.
Well,
like
I mean,
the
entire idea of her sleepwalking and like sleep almost killing everybody in the house.
The red herring,
yeah, like that's a huge red herring. Because at that point, I'm just like, okay, so it might be her. It might be like a Tyler Durden situation.
Absolutely, it's just that's what I was thinking throughout the whole movie. I'll be honest. Like, I'm like, this is clearly where this movie was going.
I didn't think that.
Then we get a model. Jesus Christ, this fucking model.
Which one?
It's a model of the death of her daughter.
Yes, yeah.
The dad sees it, and he's like, what the fuck are you doing? Yeah. Like, you can't do this. Like, and he's still... Here's the thing. This is the point where I'd be like, bitch, get your shit together.
Yes.
Like, you... Fuck. He's still, like... You can come to dinner. You don't have to come to dinner. It's up to you.
Yeah,
just fine, like...
Deal with this the way you're dealing with it.
Right. You do whatever you're going to do here. The thing, though, that's so great is Toni Collette plays it like... Nothing wrong with this at all.
She's just like, listen, I'm grieving, this is just I'm trying to look at this neutrally.
She's almost like upset that he's upset with her about this thing. And he's like, what do you think he's going to think when he sees this or whatever, the son?
Yeah.
She's like, this isn't for him, it's just weird.
And then that dinner scene.
So then I was going to bring up, you get to arguably the best acted horror scene in horror movie history.
Yeah, where I even thought, is this even a horror movie at this point? Yeah, like when I was watching that, because it's like, that was the most realistic scene I think I've seen so far. It was so realistic, it took me out of the horror.
I literally wrote down unbelievably realistic.
Yeah.
This is the exact situation that would happen when you have a mentally problematic mom who's not getting help or anything like that, and you have the family trying to deal with her, and it's like, she just like... It's everything about the scene is so fucking genius.
Yes.
Because they're just like kind of like fucking off and whatnot, and he's like, "You got something to say, Mom?"
Yeah.
Like like egging her on.
I've gotten into arguments with my mom like that.
Of course.
Where she's like not saying something, but she looks like pissed at me, and I'm just like,
something?
I'm just like, hey, just tell me what you want to say. Let's
exactly. And then she snaps, of course, on him. And basically going, you didn't take any responsibility for this whatsoever. And I get it that like you're hurting because you caused this.
Yes.
But at no point have you been like, I take responsibility. I'm sorry for what I did or whatever, this and that, blah, blah, blah. And
she's like, there's so much empathy behind her, like, idea that she doesn't want to put more on him.
Right.
But that it's at a point where she can't even keep it to
herself. She can't do it anymore. Yeah, she's just like, if you would have just fucking said I was sorry, like we could have got past this and got even stronger as a family.
Yeah, this might have actually like
brought us together.
Something positive for
this family. And it's so great too because like the dad is just sitting there like looking at her like, are you fucking serious doing this right now? And then he's sitting there crying, obviously, like holding back tears.
Yeah.
And she's just like, gets this all out and she is fucking done. Like, there you go, motherfucker, you got it.
Yeah.
And then he hits her with
real
you don't take responsibility at all either.
Yeah.
Like, you fucking made me take her.
Yeah.
I didn't want to take her.
Yeah.
She didn't want to come with me.
Yeah.
You made me take her. And dude.
Yeah.
I watched this scene twice.
Yeah.
Her face in response to that was fucking. She should have won an award for that. She's just like, you know, like this fucking face. And then that's when the dad is like, stop it now. This is over with.
Yeah, for sure.
Knock it off or whatever. And he kind of puts his foot down to put an end to this. And then she takes off, obviously. But like, I cannot gush enough about how amazing this scene is. It's just unbelievable, especially in a horror movie.
Dude, there's something about the relationship that they share as a family that was so fucking believable.
Yeah.
Man. Like, it was so well acted and well done.
Yeah. So, we get to the next scene. She goes to the Hobby Lobby.
Yeah.
All right. If I didn't know this woman was evil before, I remember being in the theater going, now I know she's evil. Sure. She's just randomly at the same Hobby Lobby as her, you know? Yeah. And then, of course, she brings up, I learned a seance. I was able to talk to my, grandson. And
I don't know. Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah. I didn't believe it at first.
Right.
Got to try it. I was like, oh, okay, all right.
Yeah.
Here we go.
And
now, at this point, though, so everything up until this point has been like spooky, scary, but now it's just like.
Now we're going into the next act.
We're going to get some heavy shit involved now.
Yeah.
That's when this is almost where I was just like, okay, now I'm going to start enjoying this movie.
Yeah.
And both my headphones were on again.
Yeah.
Because I was trying to get into the idea that just like, okay, this is no longer a spooky situation.
Sure.
Now we're getting into real paranormal shit, like real paranormal shit.
Okay.
And with that, I can almost distance myself more from the reality of the movie.
Okay. For sure.
I was wrong.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Because, like, what I'm saying is that, yes, you can distance yourself more from it because now there's more narrative. It's less just like, am I going crazy? Now it's just like, now we're getting spooky, scary ghosts involved. Sure. But when that starts happening, I was hoping that it relieved some tension because there was more for my suspension of disbelief to do.
Okay.
But the movie just continued to excel.
So then, because then you get that whole like median scene, which is like it's interesting.
It's again the most well acted thing I've seen in a long time.
Yeah,
the way she's reacting to this is the way human beings would react
and it's
to something like this.
She's so doubtful. She's just like, this is fucking fake.
But terrified.
And it's funny too because she does the whole like look underneath the table, which comes back later, obviously. But like it was quite the scene, I gotta say. And she's still like, I don't know. She starts to head home, and of course you get the, in the car, right? Now here's the thing, though, right?
I am blown away by how uncomfortable that noise made me every time. I am blown away.
Well, here's the thing. It's made to be that way. So have you ever seen The Conjuring?
Yeah.
I mean, they do that in there, too. They came up with that with the clap game.
Oh, really?
Because they did the clap thing. Yeah. And so this is a little bit of a ripoff from that. But at the same time, like, to me, it's better. Like, the clap was okay. This is better. Because it's so, like... It's not like a big deal.
Sure.
And it's so unsettling, right? Because you're just like...
It's the most unsettling noise now.
Yes.
And, like, it's not a nothing noise.
Right. I don't know. Because, like, if everything was silent and you heard a... You know...
I'd die.
Right.
Yeah, my heart would stop.
All right, thank you. I now commit suicide.
Yeah, for sure. So my next note is here. An hour and 8 minutes. The first seance scene was intense.
Yeah.
But... Now I really like where this is going.
Yeah.
If only it wasn't so fucking scary.
And like looking back, watching this a second time, like how deep, like, because I know the end, right?
Yeah,
and it didn't. We'll get into this later, but it didn't go where I thought it was going to go the first time, and that's why I didn't like it as much the first time.
Interesting.
I'll discuss that later.
Yeah.
And seeing how devious this woman is, like the second time, is so like, like, and we're gonna get into some behind the scenes in a little while that I want to talk about. Okay. That's really, really why this movie works as well as it does, in my opinion. Okay, so she has a nightmare now. This is when she has the nightmare about her son.
The ant nightmare, right?
Yeah, the nightmare
the ants on the
into
face.
the nightmare.
Yeah, the ants on the face.
Yes.
And then the why didn't you want me nightmare.
Yes.
Yeah, a fucking...
I never wanted you. Like, I was like...
Yeah.
But that reveals so much more, right?
Yes.
Like, I tried to have an abort, I tried to, have a miscarriage, this and that, blah, blah, blah. Like, it didn't work. I tried everything to have a miscarriage, and I couldn't have a miscarriage. And, like... That's so heavy. And now, like, here's where, like, I should put this out now. The first time I saw this movie, I got ahead of myself, okay? And I was disappointed with this movie because I tried to outsmart the movie.
Yeah.
And it slapped me for outsmarting it. I thought the whole time this movie was going to be Fight Club, okay? Tyler Durden.
Of course,
There is no cult. There is no, like... It is all her,
mental health, and
it is all mental health, and this whole film is an analogy or a metaphor for what mental health is and the people around you. So all the things happening, and that's why I was disappointed with the movie, because I think that's what I wanted it to be about, and you could have made a brilliant commentary on mental health, and this is still a very good commentary on mental health.
That would have been a truly horrific movie.
Yes.
With a truly poignant message.
Yes, of these people need help. We need to take this seriously.
This is what real disassociation can look like.
Right, absolutely. You nailed it. And these scenes are really telling me that's what this movie is about, right? Like, it's not The Exorcist or Rosemary's Baby. Like, a friend of mine was like, you didn't like it because you expected it to go modern horror, and instead it went Rosemary's Baby. And I was like, you're probably right. And it was probably my disappointment in trying to outsmart the film. And
I've never seen Rosemary's Baby. I don't even know what it's about.
It's about the birth of the devil, basically a person giving birth to the devil. So these scenes more are reinforcing my belief that this is what this is about. But obviously, it doesn't matter because it's still a great movie. Like, that's the thing, is like, on the second time watching it, I was like, this is still a great movie. And I think I like it more now than I did before because I was disappointed. But we should go on from the nightmare, because she does the burning thing. She wakes up for real, and there's so much stuff that happens at nights. Like, I remember seeing this in the theater the first time, and I remember, God, I can't wait for it to be morning again. The tension is so high. I need it to be morning again so I can be relieved again. And released a little bit.
But that's what I mean by, I think that was the genius part.
Yeah.
Where they keep, it's like the typewriter, man. They take it all the way to the fucking edge where you can't bear it anymore. Yeah. And then they reset you.
Yeah.
And like, I think that the resetting is the worst part, man. Because like, you don't even give me time to get used to how fucking terrifying this is before you reset me.
Yep. And then we get the seance scene in the house.
Yes. The seance scene in the house.
Right, because then she wakes everybody up. They do the seance scene.
So before she wakes everybody up, she goes into the bathroom and reads the shit.
Right.
And then she wakes everybody up after having done a seance.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. And then she does. And then you get the whole, again, the dad works on the thing, and they're just like.
The skepticism on the dad's face.
Yes. It's the same skepticism she had.
Yeah.
Earlier.
And then the reluctance and then acceptance by the son is so perfectly set up.
Because he feels responsible for what happened. So like, that's why it's like this
it's
movie,
believable.
Right.
Everybody's doing, like, my main complaint, and we've had a lot of conversations where like I tell you about the things that I like or dislike in movies, and my biggest thing is suspension of disbelief. That is my number one, where like yours is pacing. Yeah. My thing is suspension of disbelief.
Of course.
If there's a moment where a human being does not act like a human being would normally act, that is taking it too far. I can suspend my disbelief for made up planets.
Sure.
But the moment somebody doesn't act to something in the way a person would act, then I'm just like, okay, this is a convenience, a plot contrivance. Yeah. And so that's the thing that like starts to take me out of the movie. The thing that makes me angry about this movie was that there was nothing like that.
I know. Yeah.
Every character decision, every line of dialogue is so authentic that it's
point. There's a point where it gets a little bit much for me.
Oh,
I'm gonna get to that where I'm gonna be like, no. Like,
really?
Right? Yeah, I'll get there.
Yeah, because for me, the whole time I was just like, I never had my suspension of disbelief broken.
So I'll just go there now. So basically, this scene happens, and then some other odds and ends happen, and then the husband writes an email about how he's pretty sure that she's going back to where she was before. She's mentally.
Yeah, but that's because he comes home and everything is just destroyed. Yeah.
And then I'm jumping here. We'll get back to where we're at. That's the point where I find it hard, because if I'm that dad at that point, I'm taking my kid and we're taking off, and I'm not even telling you where we're going.
Oh, really?
Like,
interesting.
yes, there's
but you
no
love her, man.
What?
You love her,
but I love my kid more.
Sure, but I mean,
and my kid's safety is at risk at this point.
Okay,
and she is like gone
after the seance.
Yes.
But after the seance, you just saw that it's real.
Yeah. Well, right. I don't know. I still am like, I'm fucking out of here. Your family is in some fucked shit. Yeah. I'm fucking out of here at this point. And I'm taking my son with me. Yeah. I'm not going to tell you either. Like, I'm going to leave one day from work, and I'm a doctor, so I have plenty of money.
Yeah.
I'm going to pick up my son.
I mean, look at that house.
We live in Utah, I think this takes place.
Sure.
I am going to be in New York tomorrow. Yeah. And me and my son, you'll never hear from us again.
Maybe even, like, leave the country.
Yes. Like this is totally done. And that was a little bit like that's me with my kid. Like, I would think, like, if Sarah was risking my kid and she tried to kill my kids at some other point. Yeah. And then, like, Dante had died and Marcus was still around. Yeah. Oh, Marcus is the handicapped one. So if the other way around and Dante was still around, I'd be like, all right, Sarah, I'll see you tonight. And then, like, I'd pick up my kid and we'd be gone to Florida. Yeah. Like,
but
that's a little thing, you know.
I didn't have my suspension disbelief there, or my
sure.
I didn't have.
Because you're like, he loves her, so he's going to try to keep on helping.
Yeah, I thought that was fine. Like so the way that I saw it is that because I had it in my understanding that she was preparing something for a show.
Sure.
And they kept calling her about that, like, where are you? Can you send us progress pics?
So we're actually not even that far ahead of ourselves, because so basically the seance happens.
Yeah.
The mom is like speaking in like a weird, voice that's clearly like fucked up.
The daughter.
Yeah. Right, exactly. And like the daughter is like freaking out. Yeah, exactly. And like the kid is like, the son is like, Mommy, stop, Mommy, stop. Right, like he's
stressed.
Right, and the dad is like, stop this now. Like he's and they throw water in her face, obviously, and that's when, and she's like, what are you doing? Why would you even like?
Yeah.
Whew. Then the next scene is one of the most unsettling scenes in the entire movie to me, because it is when the son is in school and he sees like a flash.
Yes.
And he just looks over into the mirror, and the mirror is just like, hey, what's up, man?
Yeah, he's just like smiling at him.
I remember seeing that in the previews.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm seeing this movie.
Really?
Like, I was like, that is fucking freaky. I don't care. I'm seeing this fucking movie. Yeah. And like, even watching it again, I was like, shit, that is fucking freaky as shit. Right? Sure, like, that is so like disturbing to me. Like, I try to because I always try to imagine like how I would react to a situation like that. Right, exactly. Like, I'm not smiling. Why is my reflection smiling? Like, I'm done. I'm done with this life. Enjoy. You can have this body.
The reset button immediately.
Exactly. It's over with. I'll try in the next life. Yeah, sure. And so then
oh yeah, this is actually what I wrote. I said, after the Charlie possession scene, if I was Peter, I would have killed myself.
Yes, Peter, I'm done.
Yeah, for sure.
This is when the dad starts to kick it into more high gear. If I remember correctly, isn't this where he gets the email about the grave?
Yeah, so he gets the email about the grave, and he gets some pictures, and so we get to see that it's been dug up.
Yes, so we know something is really fucking weird going on here. Again, like it's building up more. You have more build up. This is where I would have definitely left with the kid. When I saw that the grave was dug up, I would automatically think it was my wife that did it, and I'd be fucking out. Like, that's what I remember thinking to myself when especially on the rewatch. I was like, she dug up her fucking mom because she's a fucking psycho.
Yeah.
I saw what she did last night. I'm fucking out of here. I'm taking Peter, and we are gone, and we are gone forever. And that's, I mean, that to me, but that's like paranormal.
I don't know. Maybe I have I wouldn't have left because of that. I would have left because of the seance.
Yeah.
The moment I saw the seance, because again, going into this, I have a framework of mind that not necessarily believes any of it, but allows for the possibility of it. And if I ever had confirmation, I would dip the fuck out.
Yeah.
Not because the mom might be struggling or whatever, because I would want to help. I dealt with some mental health when I was younger, and so I know how hard it is sometimes. But seance shit, like the glass flying across the wall and shit, I'd be like, that's it, man. I don't
Peter's
fuck around with that.
Too,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
exactly. It's not just me; it's my son too. But
the moment my wife says, "Hey, we're gonna hold our hands, we're gonna talk to the dead," is the moment I go,
"You shoot her.
You have gone too far.
Yep.
I am not talking to the dead.
Yes,
we are getting past this.
Yes, and have a good life if you don't like it.
Yeah.
So this is where at that point she gets the phone call from her the director of the movie actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's the director of the movie that calls
so
her.
funny.
Yeah, it's kind of a little funny behind the scenes thing. And so she then, of course, that's when she freaks out, destroys her entire office. Yeah. And again, this is when I'm like, what's going on here? Maybe this is her losing her mind.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Still, I'm just still on that.
And they're goading you.
Yes.
And you're buying it.
Yes.
Because I was getting goaded too.
Yes.
And I was buying it.
Yes.
At some point, they're going to tell me that she's the one that's been doing this.
Right. This is when the dad comes home, he sees what the fuck is going on, and now he's at his wit's end.
Yes.
And you know this only because, this is what's great about the movie. They don't have to tell you, right? He just goes, you see him with a blanket, he gets on the couch, takes one pill. Yeah. I'm going to take another one. Right? He's fucking just done with this shit at this point.
Because he's struggling, man.
Right.
Struggling.
And I thought to myself, I remember seeing the movie, and now when I reanalyze it, I'm like, okay, because when she then, of course, the next scene, she's like, I can't do this. She sees a lot more shit. She's going to burn the book. She's like, I got to get rid of this fucking book. Yeah. And then, of course, she tries to burn the book. Book's clearly not burning.
Yeah.
Book goes, are you trying to burn me, bitch?
Yeah.
I'll burn you. And then burns her on the arm, obviously. And then I was like, how does the dad not wake up from that? Oh, yeah, he took 2 sleeping pills rather than 1 sleeping pill, which is kind of like a little thing that I didn't even notice when I was thinking about it.
I didn't notice that right now until you pointed it out just now.
Right, exactly. And then this is when she goes over to Joan's house.
Okay.
And you're like,
yes.
And then she sees the fucking.
Did we get the Joan screaming at Peter scene yet?
That's the next scene.
Oh, okay.
Because the first scene we get is her going to the house. Yeah. She looks at the rug and she's like, wait a second.
Something going on here.
Right.
Yeah, for sure.
Here's what I don't like.
Yeah.
We then go into her room and it pans out. Yeah. And it shows what's going on the table. I don't want any of that. This is why I need to be an editor. Let me edit things.
Yeah.
That's too much of a hand.
Too hand-holdy.
Right.
No, because it's not that it's hand-holdy. It's that the movie is making you ask a lot of questions by giving you a story in fragments.
Sure.
And then throughout the course of the story, it is filling in those pieces.
I don't need that filled in.
But that's the point.
Right.
The point of the story is
showing me the rug
is to bit by bit fill in the pieces. There was still a lot that was just you imagine what it means. There's a lot of stuff where they didn't clearly say anything.
Clearly, because I was completely thrown off by the movie. Right.
Okay, yeah, for sure.
Right. Because this is when I should have been and this is why I didn't like that, because now it's telling me, okay, there is a cult. Right.
Well, yeah.
But I'd rather not.
But I want to know that there's a cult.
Oh, why?
And because now I'm like, but what are they doing?
Okay.
That's my thing. I get that there's a cult. The mom was a cult leader. Okay,
sure.
There was already enough of that. There was the pendant, and there were markings all over the place. There was some organization here.
Sure.
And so I just wanted to know what it was.
Okay.
Now, I'm not fixated on that.
Okay.
I'm fixating on how terrified I am the whole time.
So I want to.
But these were just little nuggets here and there.
Here's where I thought that we were going to go to left field. Yeah. Okay. I thought for a second, I know this is going to sound insane. Okay. She sees the rug. She's like, what the fuck? But the rug we know is a different color. Okay. It's a white rug. Okay.
Yeah.
And so we see then inside there's
colored rugs.
Yeah,
green rugs, red rugs.
Yeah. And there's the table with him in the circle.
Yeah.
The circle around it, candles burning. She leaves. The next scene we see Peter, right?
Yeah.
Peter, I spell you out, or whatever, right? This and that, yelling. I thought for a second, well, maybe they're pulling us, and this is stupid that I even thought it, and quickly I dismissed this thought, but I thought, oh, maybe she's of the opposite cult, And she's trying to save Peter or something like that, right? And that's the left hook that they're throwing me by going, we took this usually evil character, and now we're going to make her the good person, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, I was wrong because the next scene we see her looking through the books, and she sees Joan throughout the books and whatnot, and it's like, okay,
she's like a friend.
She's down. And this is when I knew, okay, this is gonna play out like a... And that's what I probably didn't like about it. I thought it would be cool if up until like the last 15 minutes you weren't sure if this was a cult or it was her going crazy.
So for me, and I think this probably is my inexperience with watching horror movies, is that for me, I wasn't worried that the end was going to scare me.
Yeah.
I was fixated on the moment-to-moment fear.
Okay.
I couldn't shake the moment-to-moment fear.
Okay.
And so, like, I wasn't thinking ahead. I was just so uncomfortable with what they were showing me. That they could have showed me anything at the end. They could have all walked out in fucking, like, marching clothes, and I would have been terrified of it. Because that I wasn't trying. I didn't have anything in my brain that was trying to work it out.
Like it was like a Saints Go Marching In type of demon, and you come out and they're like playing horns and shit like that.
Yeah, and I would have been like, oh wow, you know, like I didn't see this coming. But what I'm saying is, it wasn't like
you weren't trying to get ahead of yourself.
No, I
That's
couldn't.
the difference between me and you.
But I couldn't.
That's smart. I wish I would have watched it like you.
But I think it's because I'm not used to horror and you are.
Yeah.
You're more comfortable with the weighted environments where that weighted environment to me felt like a ton of bricks.
It's oppressive.
It's oppressive.
Absolutely. And so after she sees that Joan is obviously, there's like a bunch of flies and she's like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And then she goes up into the
attic
and
Jesus
sees
Christ,
the dead body of her mom.
I'm
there,
like,
right?
like at this point, I'm just like, I don't know if I can handle any more of this. Like I was like, my stomach hurt.
Yeah.
You know, like I was sweating.
Yeah.
Like I couldn't believe how uncomfortable I was at this point. I was pretty done with the movie. There was a point at this point where I was just like, I think I might have to turn on the lights.
Yeah.
You know, like, and I didn't.
I understand.
I didn't. I made it through the whole movie with the lights off, but like, I at this point was thinking I should probably just turn on a light just to get myself a little bit more comfort.
To recheck yourself.
Yeah, but no.
Yeah, but you shouldn't.
I was riding the discomfort.
Yeah, you definitely don't want. Like I remember seeing this in theater. You don't want to do that because then like it's going to upset the balance of what this director's trying to do. For you.
And that was the point. The point was that I was trying to get the full like effect.
Yeah.
But it was more than I bargained for, you know, like it was a lot more than I expected. Like I'm telling you, man, like I expected the 10.
And you're like 14 now.
Yeah, but like it's just like it's still cranking it up, and I'm like, I swear to God, at this scene where she goes into the attic and the dead mom is there, I was like sweating from how fucking uncomfortable it was.
And like this is a good scene too to me because like this is when the mom is like, what the fuck have we done? There's something bad going on here.
Yes. And
it's not me doing it. And she kind of like regains like her sanity sort of going on right here.
Like she's almost just like, oh shit, I fucked up somehow.
Yes, I did something wrong here. And then you have the scene of like, of course, in the school again, where the kid like freaks out and smashes his face. And it's so funny.
Well, he gets possessed.
Right, for a second.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
And the funny behind the scenes thing of that, he wanted to do that scene with a real desk and break his nose doing it. And Ari Aster was like, we're not doing that.
Yeah, you can't legally do that.
We're not going to do that. So we're going to use a foam desk or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Knowing it's a foam desk, he's like, okay, and smashes himself as hard as he can into it. Unfortunately, underneath the foam was a hard platform, and he broke his jaw doing that.
Get the fuck out.
Yeah.
Holy
that's some crazy shit. Hey?
Yeah, I mean, that's some acting, bro. That's acting.
So, obviously, the dad gets called.
Yep.
Dad picks him up.
Yep.
Dad comes home.
Well, it breaks down in the car, which I thought was an important scene.
Yeah.
Because it's just like the dad is human.
He's
for
just,
sure.
This is. I mean, how much can you possibly take of this shit?
He's a
right?
fucking
like,
he's a champ, dude.
Yeah, exactly. He gets home. She's like on the level with him now. She's like, look, I got to talk to you about Joan. You know, my friend I told you about him. He's like, what the fuck are you talking about?
It's a lot. Like he's drinking from the water hose at this point, and you can tell. Like she's trying to be real.
Yeah.
And at this point, he's just like, listen, I've got no more fucking time.
It's just too much.
Yeah, for sure.
And
it's when she's giving him the most. So like at that point, it's just like, dude.
And he's like, and she's just like, please, just do me a favor, go look in the attic. Please, I need you to go look in the attic.
Because the body of my dead mom is up there.
Right.
And he's just like,
So, can I tell you what I thought was happening right here?
Yeah.
When I was in the theater.
Yeah.
I thought he was going to go upstairs and the dead mom wasn't going to be there.
Yes, me too. Yeah.
And
I kind of expect that.
Him to come back down and be like, this is over with. We're taking you to the hospital. And that would pretty much be the end of the movie. I remember the first time seeing the movie and him going, ah! Right? Like the scream he makes. First of all, it's unbelievable. I can't make that scream. It's unbelievable. Yeah. But it's just like so horrifying.
Yeah.
Like, ah!
All of the screams were so authentic.
Right. Like, exactly. Like, how did they do that? Well, I'm not an actor, so we're not actors. Right? Exactly. Sure, so, but just like his like reaction to it is so great. And then he comes down and he's like, and because remember, even though he's seen the seance, I don't think he believes it and stuff like that. And he's like, sure, you did this. Like you dug up your mom and you, and
there's some like expectation that behind all of it.
Here's the thing.
Is an infirmed human being.
Are a person who's open to like there could be other things. Yeah. This person's a doctor.
Yeah.
Okay, for one.
Okay, sure.
He's probably like, I don't believe in any of this bullshit. Yeah. I don't believe this is all made up. The things that your mom did and all that stuff was all made the fuck up.
Yeah.
I don't believe there's gotta be a logical explanation to this thing, right? Like your mom body just didn't appear. You did this. Yeah. And he has the time she's been going to the movies every night. So he's like, because he lays it out there. He's like, for sure. Right? And she's like, no, look, it's in this book or whatever, right? And so I remember seeing this part in the theater and he's just like, she's like, please just destroy this book, right? And he's like, that's when he's like, I've had enough. Yeah. Like, I'm not destroying this. I've entertained you every step of the way here. This is over with. And she's just like, no, and she throws the book, right? And then he just bursts into flame. Right? Yeah. I was so shocked by that. Because I didn't know what I expected to see happen there. Yeah. But I didn't expect that to happen. No,
neither did I,
And then that's when she, like, completely loses it, and she gets possessed at that point.
So, from here to the end, I thought I was going to have a heart attack.
Okay. From here to the end is where I first had the problem with the movie. This moment on is when I was like... Really? I didn't want this.
So you popped through.
Yeah.
Whereas I didn't pop through.
So here's the thing for me, right?
I wanted to pop through.
Remember when I told you...
Your suspension of disbelief broke.
Remember when I told you the other day that I was like, this movie didn't scare me?
Yeah.
And rewatching this for the first hour and 45 minutes, I was like, this is the most terrifying thing I've ever seen in my fucking life, bro. Like, I am fucking terrified right now.
For sure.
And I was like, how is it the first time I saw this movie, I didn't have, like, nightmares about this or anything like that after And I was like, because usually when something, I'm shook from this fucking shit, you know? Like, and then I remembered why. Because this next 20 minutes is so bonkers, it becomes a circus to me.
Okay, so for me, it's not.
Okay, and it's so unrealistic to me.
Okay,
that's I know, because you're come from... If it was a woman who was having a mental breakdown and she set up something to kill her daughter, and then she killed her husband, and then now she's going to kill her son, that to me is real. Yeah. Like, that happens all the time. That's fucking frightening as shit to me. Like, maybe my wife is going to fucking kill us all one night, right? That's fucking terrifying. A cult dedicated to...
like a death god? Or a hell god, or a hell king,
a sidekick to Lucifer. It's one of Lucifer's angels, specifically.
Something
Pagion or something like that.
So it was like one of the 8 kings of hell.
It's a real thing in the Bible and stuff like that. But it's one of the other like dudes that's not Lucifer, but stepped down from Lucifer, basically.
Some fallen.
Right, exactly. Like, that shit to me is like... Well, go ahead.
But see, so the way that I come at this is that, especially when I was young, I was super into esotericism. I loved... I wasn't like a Wiccan or anything like that, but I loved so I think the way that I got into it...
you might have ride a broomstick before.
Yeah, right, 1 or 2 broomsticks. I think really what it got into it is that I've always been a big fan of stories and mythologies and stuff.
Okay.
And when I was exploring mythologies, I didn't stop at ancient mythologies or like Greek myths and stuff. Okay. I kept in... I always saw like modern... dogmatic religions as mythologies.
Okay.
And so I looked into their cool stuff, not just like the what do you need to be a practitioner of this religion, but like what's all your like crazy shit, you know?
Got it.
And Christianity has a lot of like wild shit. Yeah. But with
communion and all that shit.
Well, that's ritual magic and all that. But like with that research and like exploration, there is the understanding too that there are a lot of what normally would be considered, I think, what is most easily described as like dark magic cults. Like that's like real stuff. Like Aleister Crowley is probably the biggest guy, but there's a lot of shit where it's just like dark magic cults.
And, of course, and those people are dangerous to you because they could kill somebody.
Because they really truly, whether their reality is the real reality, they are definitely willing to act on those things.
Yes.
And like look at the two girls that killed that stabbed their friend in Waukesha for the Slenderman thing. People who believe these like really structured, dogmatic, dark, spiritual things act on it.
Wait, why are you going that far? Hold on.
What I'm saying is...
There are people that were trying to kidnap and kill the Michigan governor. But they only believe that the government's corrupt.
But what I'm saying is, what you said is that this is real to you, right? If it was just a lady who went insane, that's real to you. But to me, people acting on behalf of insane dogmatic religious things in a cult fashion with real intent to do harm is already real enough to terrify me. But on top of that, my framework also allows for the reality of it. And so all of it to me never popped through the suspension of disbelief. It was always riding his bubble.
I don't even know why I'm not disagreeing with you. I want to make that clear. Yeah. The cult, I agree with you. Like the cult of this thing killing these people, that to me would have been fine too. Like I would have been fine with that. Dude, you don't even have to explain all that shit.
Sure.
Religion has been killing motherfuckers for hundreds of years.
Exactly.
We don't have to go into dark cults. What are you talking about? Christians have killed motherfuckers for hundreds of years. Yeah. Right now, Israel's in fucking,
yes, of course.
Jewish people and Muslims are killing each other, right? Yeah. It's not like it's this fucking like secretive thing or some shit like that. You're absolutely right. And I'm not trying to... I think like, okay, so we should go into like what actually happens in this scene, right? Because then you have the son, he wakes up, right?
Oh my god.
So here's
the next 20 minutes to me, I swear to God, I almost puked.
The son wakes
I couldn't
up.
believe that like I hadn't puked.
I was in the theater, and you know me, I'm a surrounding sort of person. So I'm always looking at every little thing instantly I see, what the fuck is the mom doing on that fucking wall?
Oh no, I can't tell you enough how deeply uncomfortable I was about that. Because she runs out of the room first.
Well, no, she doesn't. She's on that wall the entire time behind him.
Oh, sure.
She's in the corner like this on the wall.
I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, so, and I remember in the theater seeing that instantly. I was just like, because I'm looking for the little things, right?
I only noticed her when she ran out of the room.
Sure.
That's when I noticed it.
And I see her up there, and I think to myself, what the fuck is she doing up there?
Yeah.
Some asshole, like the second afterwards goes, what's that mom on that wall? Okay. And I'm like, this is the difference between a normal person and a fucking asshole.
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
Fuck you, dickhead. Why would you say that?
Yeah.
Shut your fucking mouth.
Of course.
But I remember like being in the theater, and this theater was mostly packed because this was before fucking Nurgle virus and shit.
Yeah.
And so like, it was nearly like seat to seat, right?
Yeah.
And it was so fucking quiet. Like nothing. Like you're just like,
unbelievably dark.
Right. Everybody's just like, fucking, there's no one eating popcorn at this point.
Sure.
Everybody is like glued. Because you're like, what the fuck?
Of course.
Right?
Yeah.
She crawls out of that thing or whatever, and he gets up and starts exploring and shit like that, right? Gets to the front room, sees the dad dead, of course. She's on the wall again behind him. And
that's when I saw her on the wall, and that's when I was just like, I'm going to fucking puke. Like, I can't handle it.
Yeah. And he looks over.
Yeah.
And then, what the fuck? It's a naked dude.
Okay, so when that guy came out, I lost my breath.
Yeah.
I was just like,
I was
like I couldn't breathe. That's how scared I was.
When I saw that dude, I remember thinking to myself, "Is this like a spirit? Is this
no?
Guy like a spirit?
You didn't recognize him? I recognized him instantly.
Not for the first second, I did. Right. But then when I obviously rewatching it, I noticed literally every single person has been in this movie multiple times throughout this movie. Right. So. Every person is part of the cult that's been around this film, of course, in the background.
Teachers
constantly,
and shit.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Teachers, all this stuff and whatnot. So, great. That's fucking, I love that intricate detail right there, you know. And then, of course, the mom freaks out and then he runs away and the head blasting part is just fucking... Poof,
the head blasting part?
Where she's fucking smashing her head on the fucking...
when she's trying to get into the attic and she's busting her fucking head on it. Yeah. And then she's inside.
Yes.
And she... cuts her head off.
Yes, saws through her head.
Jesus Christ, dude, this fucking scene. And then he like looks up and like there's the teacher and a couple of other people.
A bunch of other
and
people.
he's just like, ah! And he just jumps through the fucking window.
He's dead. I'm killing myself.
Yeah.
Like, right?
And then he does.
And so I thought when he jumps through the window, that in my opinion, I think if I'm the director, I think I cut the movie right there. I think I cut the movie at him jumping out the window.
Okay.
I don't need anything past that.
You don't make the point a reality.
So
you leave it at crazy people.
Well,
because
yes.
Well, I mean, you leave it at crazy people who literally did pull in some shit. But
yes, because I mean, the mom was floating and fucking
exactly. But that's what I'm saying.
I think, like,
at this point, just give me the fucking payoff.
Yeah, you're right. And I think, like, watching it the second time, I wasn't annoyed by any of this.
Sure.
I want to make this clear. Like, the first time I saw this movie, I thought, I remember talking to a friend of mine. The first hour and 40 minutes of this movie is the best horror movie I've ever seen in my life.
Sure.
The last 20 minutes is Circus Funhouse, okay?
Yeah.
Rewatching it, I think it's still one of the best hour 40 minutes I've ever seen in a horror movie.
Yeah.
And the second part, because now I have my asshole precognitive, attempts to solve the movie, cut away. Yeah. Now I'm like, okay, I'm all right with this. Yeah, right, because you're right. Like, so it's not 100% clear, but he obviously lands on his face, so he's probably dead.
Probably, yeah.
And then we get the whole, I don't know what else.
Little spirit thing.
Yeah, exactly. That's been throughout the movie and whatnot. And then it hits him, and then he gets up, and you see the mom floating into the treehouse, which is really fucking weird, right? Yeah. Whatever. But
at that point, you're just like, okay.
We've now gone to Fairyland.
It is at the top now.
The Witch.
Yes.
I mean, you've seen The Witch, right?
I haven't seen The Witch.
Okay, yeah.
I just told you I didn't watch fucking scary movies for 10 years.
The Witch is very similar to this. Like, I thought The Witch was much better than this. I've gotten into this conversation with a few times. Very similar storyline.
Okay, so I'll never watch The Witch.
It's nowhere.
Or maybe I'll watch The Witch for next year's Halloween.
I don't think. Yes, that's what we'll do. I don't think you'll be as scared of that movie as you are of this movie.
Really?
Because there's a lot of things that. Well, first of all, this movie is very set in grounded reality right here, whereas that movie takes place in like 1600s America.
Okay. Yeah.
Has a bunch of fucking Game of Thrones cast members on it and stuff like that. Yeah, it's fucking phenomenal. It's probably my favorite. It's easily in my top couple. Like, I still think Alien and Shining are ahead of it, but it's probably number 3 after that.
Okay.
So, and Hereditary, I gotta admit, we'll get there. So, so then you just have the ritual, basically them revealing that, like, everything at this point.
Yes.
It was, Charlie was never Charlie. Charlie was Charlie, but there was something on board with Charlie.
Yes. And then Charlie was riding a host that was
No.
Charlie was a host for something.
But
and it was like half in, half out.
Yes.
Where it wasn't, because it said that it, like, because when she was reading the book, it said that it wants the thing that, like, it is. And so
it needs a male body.
It wants a male body because it is male. It, like, covets a male body.
Yes.
And then so you're just like, oh, okay, so Charlie was always possessed. And there was always some shit going on.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I think it's...
And then the mom and the two moms were sacrificed for this to happen.
Yes.
And all that,
Yeah, exactly. So, and then a lot of heads. A lot of head cut off because they've got Charlie's head up there.
Yeah, for sure.
Which is...
like...
rough.
Yeah.
And then he's crowned as the king, and the demon devil is here. So that's the end of the film.
And that's the end.
So, that is a fucking movie, man.
Yes.
And this is probably one of the longest podcasts we've done. But
this is for sure the longest podcast we've done.
But this is arguably one of the best films we've done. Yes. I would still argue I like Alien more, the original Alien. I think it's a better film. But
so here's the thing about what we just saw versus what we've been seeing. What we've been seeing was earlier cinema.
Yep.
And while earlier cinema is the cornerstone of cinema, and earlier cinema is where real good techniques originated by very innovative directors.
Yeah.
This is now the progression of cinema.
Perfecting on that.
Yeah. This has been... Halloween we watched, it was 1978.
Yes.
This is 2020.
Yes.
This is
2018, so 2018. What is that, 30 years later?
No, 50 years later.
No, 40 years. 78 to 18? 40 years.
40 years?
Yeah.
So, 40. No?
Yeah, because I was born in 80 and it's 2020.
You're right. Yeah, you're right. So I'm gonna edit that out so nobody knows how bad at math we are. So I
got it right.
Yeah, it's been 40 years of cinematic progression where people are honing a craft, and you know that like any amount of progression is
going to help.
It's compounding,
right?
And so we have seen some good movies,
yes.
But now we just watched one of the better movies of this day.
Yes, because
and it makes a difference.
I agree, and it's important to note that like this isn't me saying like The Exorcist is bad or the Rosemary's Baby is bad or The Conjuring is bad, because this movie isn't made without those movies being made first.
Yes, exactly.
Because Ari Aster clearly, if that's how you, I don't know if that's how you pronounce his last name, but Ari clearly watched these other movies, and then built his his film from this.
It's like when people say that that like I shit on J.R.R. Tolkien, because I don't think he's the best, And I'm just like, dude, I understand the importance of a person that creates a genre.
Yeah.
But you build then on that genre.
Yeah. I mean, wait.
We'll do that on a hey, can I ask you something later?
All right.
Yeah, we'll leave that.
Because I was about to drop.
Yeah. No, let's move past it.
All right. So anyways, so I mean, you have all these other films that have come before it, but it's like the greatness of this film is that it's so heavy, with these metaphors towards mental illness and in my opinion, the hereditary nature of it and how it can be passed down a generation and how it can just seep into the people around you and affect the people around you so much. And that's what makes this movie in many ways, even because you didn't even notice it when you were watching it the first time, so subconsciously disturbing.
Yeah, it's real.
Right.
It's hitting on something that a lot of people deal with very realistically.
Here's some great things about this film, okay, right, that Ari kind of revealed after the film was out.
Sure.
One of the points of this movie is you are watching a film about a possession and about a sacrificial lamb, but from the sacrificial lamb's point of view.
Sure, yeah.
So that's why you don't, you see these people like you just brought up, and I didn't want to bring this up until the end, where you see that like the guy smile at the, at the funeral, and you see like the person, because these people, this cult is planning this sacrifice, including the mom. The mom was in on this, planning this sacrifice, but we are learning it with the family that's being sacrificed.
Yeah.
We're the one, so we are revealing as much, they're revealing as much to us as they are to the family.
Sure, yeah.
So that really puts you in a place of what the fuck is going on?
And vulnerability, like the vulnerability that the family's feeling.
Exactly that. So so that's definitely strong. So where are you at for your recommendation here, my man? I mean, I think we're pretty clear, but
so I absolutely recommend this to anybody who wants to watch probably what I would consider the best horror movie that I've ever seen, but that really limits the scope because I stopped watching horror movies for a little while. But definitely one of the better movies I've seen in a long time, and unfortunately, it's a horror movie, and so it's just like phenomenally done, tremendously well done. But I don't recommend this to anybody who is uncomfortable by scary movies. Like, if you don't like scary movies, don't ever watch this scary movie, because this is legitimately one of the most, to my core, uncomfortable movies I've ever watched.
Nice. I'm glad I pulled this one for you.
Yeah, I'm almost unhappy you did. I was a better person before watching this movie.
Probably. Rewatching this is probably number 5 on my list of horror films of all time. I thought this movie was absolutely phenomenal. I don't even care about, like, when I rank my horror movies, this is easily the best acted horror movie I've ever seen in my life.
Sure, of course, yeah.
I might like Alien more. I might like Shining more. Shining, I definitely like more. But Jack Nicholson is the only one who acts better than these other or Jack Nicholas. I always fucking mix those two up. But
because Jack Nicholson, I think, is a golfer.
He's a golfer. Yeah.
Jack Nicklaus is a golfer.
Either way, I don't know. But there's a drunken night I'll have to tell you about one day down the line about that. So he was great, but the rest of the cast is only okay. In this, every person in the cast is fucking great, And the insidiousness of this film, the fact that the teacher is there, the fact that, just so many people in their lives were part of this sacrifice is so good. And, like,
It's like a paranoid person, like a disassociative person.
Yes.
That like has all these paranoid thoughts. It's like, what if they were right?
Right.
Like that's horrifying,
right.
dude.
Exactly.
That's so bad.
And the helplessness of this family and whatnot.
Man.
It's
Jesus.
just so good.
Yeah.
All in all, great movie. I would definitely suggest that you should see it if you want to see horror at probably one of the pinnacles.
Yeah.
Just a great film. It's a can't miss, man. You if you haven't seen it,
if you're into this kind of stuff,
it's a great film. And even if you're like, I'm kind of horror, I'm not into horror, but I'm into drama, you could probably pull this one off.
Not if you're prone to being scared.
That's true. I should say if you're a pussy and you're like, I don't want to be scared. I'm kidding.
Yeah.
If you're a person,
if you're prone to mental instability,
yes,
in the darkest and quietest of moments, don't watch this fucking movie.
Yeah, or watch it with all the lights on and maybe your dog sitting next to you.
Man, sure,
but it's
not with headphones on.
It's heavy. It's rough. And it's real. That's the most important thing. Everything up until Circus Funhouse is real. So.
Sure. All right. Well, that was Happy Halloween, everybody. That was our very special Halloween episode. And I hope you guys enjoyed it.
Yeah, and we'll be getting back to our regular scheduled program of older movies that Antonio hasn't seen. In November, we'll have some fun stuff coming up. We might do some like comedy stuff to just break it up because we went pretty heavy with this.
Yeah, we've done a lot of action and now some scary stuff. So we should do like some old comedies.
We'll definitely kind of jump into.
I expect that Christmas is going to get fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, so Christmas will definitely get ridiculous. It's really disappointing you've seen Die Hard, of course, because I love course that movie. But
that's a Christmas movie.
Of course, shut the fuck up. So we'll probably jump into some John Hughes movies next week. You haven't seen any of them?
No.
And I think those would be fun to like break up the heaviness we've just gone through.
Sure, yeah.
And we'll probably get heavy again. We're definitely gonna touch back on horror, but we're gonna touch back on horror at more appropriate times. So in the winter, we're definitely going to get into The Shining, and we're going to get into The Thing.
Okay.
Both are well regarded. I think I know how you're going to come down on both those movies.
Yeah.
But I could be wrong. So I think it's going to be some fun times coming up.
Sure. All right. Cool. All right, everybody. I hope you enjoyed the episode. Follow us on all of our socials or whatever the relevant ones are to you.
You can catch us live on Facebook anytime we're going live.
We're never going to go live on Facebook. I hate to break it to you, but this is not a live show.
Don't you swear at me, you little shit. Don't you raise your voice at me. I am your mother. Do you understand? All I do is worry and slave and defend you. And all I get back is that fucking face on your face. So full of disdain and resentment and always so annoyed. Well, now your sister is dead. And I know you miss her. And I know it was an accident. And I know you're in pain. And I wish I could take it away from you. I wish I could shield you from the knowledge that what you did and what you did. But your sister is dead. She's gone forever and a waste. It could have maybe brought us together. Something. If you would have just said, I'm sorry, or face up to what happened, maybe then we could have done something with this. But you can't take responsibility for anything. So now I can't accept and I can't forgive. And because nobody admits what they've done. What about you, Mom? She didn't want to go to the party. So why was she there?